Hey, this is Mike Carano, and this is episode number 13 of 5 Minutes with Mike. First thing I gotta say is I apologize for not having this video out on time, but my original intention was after 12 episodes to take a week off and rethink everything and try to do a better job with production and try to find more entertaining and better topics to talk about. But unfortunately, after I took that week off, I just became overwhelmed. I bit off way more than I can chew work-wise. I'm still trying to finish up jobs I took a month ago. Got my ass kicked by the flu for about a week, and then general apathy set in. Good thing is, when I get overwhelmed and I have deadlines looming, I normally just go, I wonder what's at the movies, and I blow everything off and go do something fun. And I did that this time a couple of times, you know. In the heat of deadlines and the pressure, I just went, I'm going to the fair. And I dig the fair. I dig the fair for a couple of reasons. Two main reasons are barbecued corn and White Mountain, the giant steer. I've been going to the fair for about 10 years exclusively to see White Mountain. It's this gigantic steer, and you go in, you pay $1 in this fake little barn, and you stare at this giant cow steer thing, and then you split, and it's pretty good. My only problem is some of the ways they advertise them are kind of cruel, like 10,000 hamburgers on the hoof, alive. It's kind of threatening, you know, like, hey, White Mountain, if you don't, you know, stay in line, we're gonna jam you in a meat grinder, 10,000 hamburgers. And then this time was even worse because the dude at the till was eating a goddamn Carl's Jr. $6 burger. How rude. You know, and the other reason is the corn. The barbecued corn is fantastic. And in normal life, everyday life, I think corn kind of sucks. And no offense, Indians, but barbecued corn served to me by a greasy carny, fantastic. So we get in the fair, and there's all these ads and all these little statues and stuff preaching about how great meat is for you. And I don't think the fair is the target audience for that. You know, I mean, the fair is nothing but a bunch of farm animals that are eventually going to be slaughtered, low-grade meat products served every 20 or 30 feet, and a bunch of crappy rides. You know, I don't really think too many vegetarians walking around eating corn dogs. And the other thing, here's a new trend that's really bugging me, is everyone sells these turkey legs now. Disneyland and the fairs, they see these people walking around like fucking barbarians eating this giant greasy fucking slobbery turkey leg, and I think it's kind of gross, you know. What are you, Fred Flintstone? You know, put down the turkey leg, eat a regular piece of meat like a civilized person. Like, I think your meat should be in a tube in a bun with mustard on it if you're walking around eating it. Just my opinion. Then we see this baby cow, and this cow was born 24 hours before we got there. And at first I felt bad because I thought, it's a baby cow and it probably doesn't like this sitting at the fair. And then you realize, you know, life's pretty good for this cow right now because once it gets fat and old, they're gonna walk up to it with one of those Anton Chigurh bolt shooting compressed air things and blow a hole in his head, and then some other guy's gonna start hitting it with a meat cleaver. So enjoy the fair, cow. Then I freak out because I think I see a two-headed goat, and I'm like running to this goat, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a two-headed goat, and I get up there, and of course, it's just two goats sitting next to each other, and I'm a friggin' idiot. So now we're meandering around the fair, and we stumble upon these Chinese acrobats, and they're doing the same stuff Chinese acrobats have been doing for 2,000 years, you know. Guy comes out on the bike, and then another guy jumps on his back, and pretty soon there's like 20 guys on the bike, and the one dude's like riding the bike, and it's pretty impressive, but no one really gives a crap. Then a guy comes out and stacks about 30 wooden chairs on top of each other, climbs to the top and does a handstand, and it was friggin' amazing. And the depressing part was he's at the top of these chairs doing a handstand, pretty much risking his life in front of a bunch of people at the fair, and all I kept thinking about was, should I get a funnel cake or a churro? And I realized no one cares. You know, if I'm ever at a party and I stack a bunch of chairs on top of each other and do a handstand at the top, my friends better never, ever stop talking about it. They better call the fucking news, because that would be the most amazing thing I ever did in my life. You know? So, while we're watching the Chinese acrobats, all of a sudden our attention is completely taken away from that because we see what appears, and I apologize for being crude here, but we see what appears to be a little girl playing with a giant pink dildo. And that's what it looked like from afar. So we get up there, and it turns out it's this inflatable mace, that medieval weapon. And I just thought, what a weird thing to make for kids. It's an, hey, honey, do you want the little blow-up pony, or do you want the inflatable weapon, the mace that was used to crush a man's skull while ripping big steak-sized pieces of flesh off of his face? I want the mace, mommy. So of course now we went on a 30-minute search to find the mace because we had to buy them. We get to the place that sells the inflatable crap, and not only do they sell the maces, but they sell the gayest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, rainbow unicorns on a stick. And when I say it's the gayest thing I've ever seen in my life, of course, I'm exaggerating, because the gayest thing I've ever seen in my life was one that I got really drunk, and I was walking around in West Hollywood, got home, looked in the mirror, and I was wearing orange shorts, sandals, a gas station shirt, and a cowboy hat. And that was the gayest thing I've ever seen in my life.